Welcome, everybody. Getting ready to start a Rogue Trader again. It's session 15. We haven't played in like a couple of months in real time. So we just spent the last half an hour or so kind of rehashing and recapping everything that's going on for the players' information. So I'll give you guys a recap here real quick. We had started off in the mansion after the crew got a little rowdy, a little out of hand maybe. There were a couple of deaths. There was some bad things that happened, but we've moved past that. We were able to talk with Roderick, the nobleman on the planet there. He was willing to listen to our side of the story, which was nice, maybe a little unexpected. We convinced him that he should come out to the fields so that Kynnoch could prove, quote unquote, that there's warp taint in the not only the fields of the grain, whatever he was feeling there. So he agreed, brought some of his own retinue and his own psychers, and it was determined that yes, indeed, there was warp taint. They could see or feel the warp energies to the west in the mountains. Roderick's own psychers confirmed that. We were given our weapons and things back. We were given not free run of the I don't want to say castle. What's of his residence, I guess. So Jarnan and Venari went back to the house. Emmaus and Kynnoch went back up to the ship. Kynnoch on the bridge was able to, using his psi powers, locate the area to the west, which Emmaus then scanned, and they were able to find some structures that were not natural in the mountain area. So they've noted that. Jarnan was left to his own devices, was maybe going to go snoop around. There's no psychers to be found anywhere other than the officially sanctioned psychers in the retinue of Roderick. And Venari went back to some sexy time and then was woken quite rudely by Roderick's brother Egon. And they had a conversation. Venari found out that the black organic liquid that has the slight psi taint, I guess, on it, could be used to hide psychers. He wanted Venari and the crew to fix the problem of the grain, and that it could be quite beneficial to Venari and the crew by extension, I suppose. So we left off on that cliffhanger, and we'll pick it up from there, or maybe fast forward a little bit, and let's see what happens.
All right. Yeah. So we're back after a really long time. Let's just pretend we all were in a warp storm, and here we are again. Yeah. So.
Oh my God! Where did the fourth eye come from? What's so hard to see now?
Yeah. So right now, it seems Venari is. You are still in the palace, correct?
Correct.
And then Emmaus and Kynnoch are on the ship doing scans, and I believe Jarnan is also still in the palace as well, right? That's where everyone is?
Mm-hmm. Correct.
Yes. Okay. Just so everyone knows where everyone is. So yes, we'll cut to the morning, I guess, giving Venari time to think of what he's going to do with the information he's just learned. As well, you would assume you were able to get some amount of rest, and then at some point, obviously, the rest of the command crew who's on the ship would probably try to communicate with you from what they've found. So I will let you guys determine who does what first. I don't know who would be the most likely to be up first, but your rooms, you know where the rooms are, and you know how to reach each other. I'm not sure you have a communication device directly from the ship. You'd have to be in the radio room.
Or the radio room, yeah. Yeah. Venari would not be the first one up.
No. I figured not.
So I assume that's Jarnan, at least in the palace, anyway.
Yeah, Jarnan would probably be the first awake, but he probably wouldn't leave his room right away. So I may not be the first to leave my room.
Also probably not Venari.
I'm assuming if Kynnoch and Emmaus stay on the ship, we'll... I don't know. Emmaus, do you want to shuttle down and surprise the captain with this information, or shall we just radio it in casually?
Well, I think the captain's not going to get it unless he's near radio. So I think we should probably go down and talk to him. There's no use one of us staying up here. We have the information we need, and the ship's not going anywhere. So I say we go down and talk to him because he kind of needs to know what we found out.
Yes, might as well.
Is there any last readings or anything we need to get, or do we have all the information, on data, grab a data slate, is everything here that we need? I think from my standpoint, we've got the details of where we were looking and what we found. I don't think there's anything else from your standpoint with your knowledge. Is there anything else you'd want to look at before we go down to gather?
No, I believe that we've gotten everything that we can up from here. It's time for a more impersonal investigation, I'd say.
Agreed. Okay, so let's go head to the shuttle and go rouse the captain.
I'm sure he'll be ecstatic.
So as far as timelines, it would take at least, an hour or two, I'm sure, to descend from the ship to the planet. And then obviously you're going to have to get to the palace if that's where you are headed. Mm-hmm. So that would put you in travel time for a couple hours. Sure. In the meantime, does Jarnan do anything? Is he praying and maintaining his weaponry? I don't know if you do have actually most things still with you, or most stuff was returned to you, so I don't think there's anything you're missing. And Venari, I guess you would wake up whenever you wake up, but at this point it would be, I would say, late morning. You would definitely have been up before they arrived, but he's close to when they would arrive.
Yeah, he'd come down with Lavinia or Lavinia, and they have like a late breakfast, just kind of languidly, taking food and just kind of like lounging about the palace. Now that they've sort of been cleared, he's trying to enjoy it as much as he can.
And she's very she's definitely like wrapped up in it, because it's certainly better treatment than, even an Imperial official obviously isn't going to get rogue trader level of sort of, food and drink and service. She's more of a functionary, so it's be more kind of curt sort of dealings with anyone from the planetary government per se. So she definitely is sort of like reveling in it, but at the same time does seem to be kind of keeping it in check a little bit. Not like getting out of hand and like talking down to the staff and things, because she knows obviously she has to go back to her job as, sort of a mid-level administratum employee. So it's sort of back and forth between like, this is amazing, and sort of like, okay, I got to like keep my cool a little bit.
Yeah, Venari's trying to really like skirt the line, right? So like he doesn't have his feet up on the table, but like he's lounged back, when somebody walks by, like, and kind of like questioning a look like, oh, do you need anything? And he's like, waves his hands like, yeah, more of whatever. The lady would like another, whatever. Oh, do you have any of the exotic, whatever the friggin' thing is?
Yeah, so she definitely is more, so she kind of lets you handle that side of it. You can tell she's kind of deferring to you to push the line, but definitely seems to be enjoying when you push the line. So not like she's like, stop doing that. It's more like, well, I'm not asking.
You're right.
I'm just the beneficiary from this guy's attitude. And so that's kind of where she stands. So as you're eating, you're drinking, you have, a very nice, like, super huge, like, auspicious
Swanky.
breakfast. Obviously, it's, like, it's not just the palace, but like, you're a rogue trader, so you can kind of get what you want. And certainly they are used to, kind of rolling out the red carpet for that type of, position. So, you're living it up.
Does Roderick come in at all while we're down? Did he take, breakfast earlier?
He is, you haven't seen him. He's
Okay.
not. And you are later. I don't know if you would. You assume he's probably off already doing his duties by the time you rolled up to brunch.
Okay, that's fair.
It's not like a weekend for him. It's like a work day. So he's probably like doing whatever planetary governor stuff is. He's probably doing that.
Okay, that's fair. We got our comms back, I guess. So like, it almost as an afterthought, like he's like swirling some Amasec in his glass, and he's sipping it. And
wow, Amasec, like,
he's a rogue trader.
10:30, 11 a.m. Man, you're rolling
decadence and shit. Yeah, for sure.
Day drinker.
Yeah. So he like, they share like a titter, and then he's like, oh. Shit, I should probably call Jarnan. He probably likes some of this. So he, jumps on the microbeat. He says, Jarnan, you're awake, right? You've probably been up for a while.
Yes, I've been working on my equipment, waiting to hear from you. Are you drunk yet?
Oh, no, of course not. We're here enjoying a light repast. I should have called you as soon as we came down. My apologies. I assumed that you were deeply into your prayers, but we're still down here in the dining room if you wish to join us.
I thank you. It would be beneficial for me to break my fast at this point. I will be joining you shortly.
Excellent. Have you heard any news from Emmaus or Kynnoch?
No. Have you?
No. Alas, I have not been out to the shuttle or to the radio room. I will assume that they're on their way. If we don't hear anything soon, then we can run down to the radio room and look to see if they've left yet.
So you haven't heard from them because you haven't been near radio?
Yes.
Yeah, I'll be along shortly.
Excellent. Boop.
Boop as well.
As you do that, Lavinia kind of snaps out of it a little bit and looks down, and sort of, oh my! Do you have a data slate? I haven't realized I haven't checked upon any of the manifests. I'm used to, obviously, there being no, there's no, ship's docking. I'm used to just essentially maintaining status quo, and I didn't think. Now I'm thinking if your ship has landed. Oh no!
He like kind of absently sort of like pats himself down. I assume that's a fair. Oh, it's almost like having a phone. I guess he would have.
Yeah,
some kind of.
You could probably have a data slate on you. It's not fancy.
Yeah, so he pulls that, looks at it, shrugs, hands it over to her.
She starts kind of like furiously tapping and kind of going about her business. Jarnan would be able to come in by then. She's sort of stuck, just kind of tunnel vision into the data slate at this point.
I lost her.
Checking essentially checking emails, that sort of stuff, and double checking communications, and if anything's the status of all the systems at the docks and all that sort of stuff.
Okay. After 15 or 20 minutes and she doesn't say anything, he kind of kicks back forward and he goes, any interesting news? Anything exciting that we missed out on?
Oh, sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. I feel like it seems as if your shuttle should be inbound any moment now. If they aren't already on their way here, perhaps I don't mean to be rude, but I feel as if I should get to the docks just to make sure everything looks like it's taken care of. I don't like to be gone too long if I don't have to, but certainly I could see you later.
Of course, if we're not indisposed otherwise, I would most appreciate that. So he stands, he bows, he takes her hand, kisses her hand. She turns to walk, he smacks her on the ass.
She kind of giggles a little and then kind of walks off and is like, well, you know how to find me. And then kind of, you notice she keeps the data slate.
That's
walks off and she's still furiously kind of checking stuff.
I assume when she turns oh, you know how to find me, as she turns and back into the data slate, Jarnan comes in and she bumps into him where he was standing there watching the whole thing.
Yeah, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry. Oh, my apologies.
That's quite all right, ma'am. I'm quite used to women running away from him."
She kind of gives you a wink and continues walking.
Always away with words, Jarnan.
I would say the same for you, but it is too early in the morning for me to be lying.
I would imagine a lie has never passed your lips, good sir.
Nope, never.
The Emperor forbid it.
Yes, he does. He forbids it every day.
Venari just kind of gives him the hand roll by the head.
And it is so good to see you this morning.
Yes, you're still in time. There's still food left over. Please sit, enjoy.
And I'm just gonna sit down, start eating, and try to ignore all the alcohol that he's already had.
Oh, as soon as you sit at the table, he pours another glass.
Yeah.
He just he kind of gives you the side eye glance as he's pouring it to see if you're gonna say anything.
Kind of early. No.
To enjoy what the Imperium has to offer? Never.
Yeah, well, don't enjoy too much. Pretty sure you have a lot of work to do today.
Of course. It's early. It's fine. We still have to wait for Kynnoch and Emmaus. Oh, by the way, they should be here shortly.
Oh, did you finally find a radio to talk to them?
Lavinia saw it on the data slate. She was checking up on business, as it were.
Ah, I see. So you are able to hold a woman's attention as you always can.
Of course. He winks.
Yeah.
As you're sitting there, a man, well appointed, in a very slick dress, comes and stands beside Venari, leans over and says, "My employer, the younger Honusberg, hopes you've had time to think about your discussion he said you'd had last evening. He's in the secondary stateroom if you'd like to speak with him. He hopes to have a resolution, as it were.
So he kind of like leans back. He looks at his chronometer or whatever passes for a watch, and says, can you tell him I'll be there shortly? I mean no offense. I just would like to finish what we have here. My missionary has just come down. We were just discussing the day's matters. The rest of my crew should be here momentarily.
I am but a messenger, sir. I will report to him. He does not like to be left to keep waiting long. So
Understood.
I would say perhaps you should hurry along if possible. I will relay to him what you said, though.
Excellent. Thank you.
He bows and leaves. You assume at this point, yeah, he's the younger is Egon, the older is Roderick. So
how long is it before they get there? Like, he wouldn't make him wait, like, even a half an, like, he would wait like 10 or 15 minutes.
yeah, they're like an hour out.
Oh, they're like an hour? Ah,
probably.
fuck. Damn it.
Most likely. Because the ship hasn't really landed. Plus, I mean, it could be 40 minutes, but
yeah, that's way too long.
It's a little while because the ship lands, then they get essentially another ground vehicle and get to the palace. So.
All right. All right. So he waits like maybe like 10 minutes, and then he abruptly stands. The servo skull, putters up and says, "If you'll excuse me, Jarnan, I must take this meeting. I assure you'll keep the rest of the crew entertained in my absence."
I will keep them entertained, but what deal?
We had a bit of a meeting. The younger brother is. It's a complicated thing between the brothers. It's not something I want to get involved in necessarily. I just, he came to me with a request. It's never mind about it. I'll return shortly.
Fine. Just go. Just try not to start a war.
Or murder any religious leaders?
You mean the chaos demon, the warp demon that was inhabiting the body of a religious leader that I did this entire planet a service by destroying utterly?
Yes, of course.
Yeah,
of course,
you can do that.
We could have handled it a different way.
Could have. Didn't. You were too busy.
I was indeed. And he just turns and walks off.
Yeah, Jarnan's just going to keep eating.
After a very long walk... go ahead. Someone else.
No.
Okay. After a very long walk, there's a room that looks like a very large sort of reception hall doors that are opened by guards from the palace, planetary guard. As you walk in, you see the man you met the night before, the younger of the Honigsberg brothers, sitting at in a very large sort of ornate chair, but with a long sort of table in front of it. There are data slates, kind of everywhere. He has several, looks like administratum types, bookkeepers, librarians, that sort of logging entries and things like that, as well as the man who had spoken with you earlier, who's sort of behind him to his side. He looks up as you enter. Ah, the rogue trader presents himself. I assume you've had a chance to think about our discussion.
Indeed I have. And he just like gives him, like the most formal crisp of bows that he could. My apologies for keeping you waiting. My missionary had just come down to share a repast, and I had to think of an excuse to excuse myself.
It's, of course, no consequence to me. I am not offended by your taking your time. I understand completely. I'm not my brother. I don't have to abide by such offenses as, let's say, the figureheads do.
Indeed, we are men of action, are we not?
Indeed. Action indeed.
He he hesitates and just kind of like looks to like take all of the people in the room, and he just kind of raises an eyebrow.
You question my cohort? These are my employees. Of course, I have to keep busy. Just because I'm not the governor doesn't mean I don't have my own business to attend to.
Oh, no, of course. I don't question you're having your staff around you. I just, I wonder at the, I can't think of the word that I want. Help me.
I don't know what you're looking for.
Like the brashness of having them there while we discuss like Xeno shit.
Oh, that's a good question.
I can't think. There's
Audacity, yeah, protocol.
I wouldn't want to throw out Audacity because I don't want to offend him.
Yeah.
All right. So I'll edit all this shit out. So he just says, I expected, based on our previous meeting, that our meeting would be private.
Oh, but it is. These are my trusted associates. They are well aware of my businesses and all of our trade and dealings, so you can speak freely.
Yeah,
I assure you, they could not care less what it is we discuss. They know their place. They don't listen when they're not meant to. And as you're talking about all this, like literally none of them even seem to like, not even like a glance, not even a blink. Like they're just in it. They do what they do. It looks like they just kind of pay no attention whatsoever. The person that had kind of went and talked to you, though, he's standing behind him, but he also doesn't seem to react whatsoever.
He pulls up a chair, he sits down, he kind of like kicks back a little bit. He goes, I admire your audacity.
That's not audacity, it's simply loyalty. And I must say I require the utmost of loyalty in my trade. Based on our discussions, I'm sure you know what level of value I place on being discreet. These are the best of the best.
Indeed.
So, what do we have? What are you going to do about our problem? If it is indeed our problem.
Well, I am indeed intrigued by your offer. Of course, I am always on the lookout for the acquisition of items, powerful things, thrones, rogue trader. We do have the issue currently of the tithe, which needs to be remedied, I believe, before we can move forward. Our mission, as it were, was to come out and reestablish contact. Believe we could probably dispose of the grain without too much of a fuss. I had also considered potentially with your contacts, we may be able to offload the grain to those who are less desirable.
Interesting. What is it you mean by less desirable? You'd, what, hope to feed this to a hive world or of something of that sort?
Oh, nothing as mundane as that. I was thinking we may be able to maybe sell it to some orcs or other xenos that you may have contact with.
You wish for me to make a deal with orcs?
I wish
They're
for you to,
barbarians.
if you could provide information, I may be able to work something out of my own.
It's outside my normal trade, I will say. However, not beyond my reach. If you really wish it, I suppose I could find a way to get in contact, and, well, I can guarantee nothing. I can try to negotiate some sort of parlay between you. I can't do much more than set up the meeting. Whether they come in firing their guns full speed, I couldn't say. I wouldn't trust an orc as far as I could throw them, and obviously without power armor, I'm not going to be doing any of that. So, if you really wish it, can do some digging. I could reach out to some of my contacts and perhaps find a way to arrange a meeting.
I just floated. I put it on the table. Let's, if you find that you can make certain contacts, we can revisit this. I'm not married to the idea. I just figured, thrones are thrones. Doesn't matter who they come from.
Well, look, I don't care what you do with this grain as long as I don't have to hear about it and it doesn't raise any further suspicions of items moving to and from this planet. I don't want too much attention upon our little paradise, as it will. The people are loyal. They've grown all of this grain and whatever it is you think the keepers of the harvest have done or have not done. That's of no consequence to me. That is the governor's duty, you see, not mine. And so I'm simply trying to make my life a little easier. I don't like roadblocks being put up, and the Imperium certainly shall do that if particularly they find a planet producing feedstock for its herd as tainted by the warp.
Indeed, I just merely wish to provide information so you can understand what we're doing, where we're coming from, where we're moving towards. We believe the source of the contamination overall from the warp lies to the west. Do you know of any structures, any strange going on further afield from here? Do you have abandoned city, any old ruins, anything that would potentially draw some warp entities?
Nothing I know of. There are no structures per se out there. There are caves, natural dwellings, primitive peoples at one point obviously had lived there before it was a desert wasteland. No one can live there now. We've all moved on. I suppose someone could use those. I haven't any idea why you would want to, other than it's well beyond our eye. It's a vast, vast wasteland. We don't routinely scan for it. There's nothing out there. It would be a waste of resources. So I guess if you wanted to go unnoticed, perhaps far enough, you might be able to utilize some of those ancient caverns if you'd wish, but I can't say is there are no great cities. Nothing was abandoned. It was desert for as long as this modern civilization has survived, at least.
Well, let me ask you this, and I mean no offense, of course, but with all the psychers that you theoretically have at your disposal, has no one pointed out the unsettling warp energies that emanate from that area?
I'm not sure what you're speaking of. I'm not sure what psychers you're speaking of that I have at my disposal. The choir are but astropaths, blocked by the warp from contacting the Imperium. So, other than that, obviously we have no psychers here.
Ah, yes, indeed, indeed. My speaking. The choir, indeed, is what I had intended.
Well, no, they are not adept at perceiving warp threats. That is not what they are trained to do. That's not their job or their purpose. Their purpose is to communicate and honed to do that to a razor's edge. But the backside of a razor is just as dull as a rock at that point. That is not what they were trained to do. Any other psychers, which we don't have any, would obviously not be able to perceive anything of note if there were warp disturbances, clearly, or they would have noticed the grain being tainted.
Yes, of course, of course. Foolish of me. One too many this morning, I suppose.
Well, perhaps you should be careful taking up the drink too early. It can cloud your judgment later in the day.
I haven't found that to be the case, but we'll err on the side of caution today.
To each their own. As long as you can take care of the problem, otherwise, I will take care of the problem.
No, I believe we are off today to investigate and potentially remedy the situation.
I shall hope so. I will give you, I guess, well, let's not be too generous. I think some amount of motivation is necessary for people to get things done. So let's say 24 hours. If the problem has not been solved by then, I shall hope you are not on planet any longer, and perhaps not on planet ever again.
It seems a generous amount of time. Of course, I don't know what we may expect to find when we get there.
Certainly, and I don't care. All I know is I have a problem that you've brought upon my doorstep. And so I'm giving you a chance to solve it out of respect, obviously, for a rogue trader and his business. But at the cost of my own business dealings, I can't allow this to go on for much longer. There's already been too many citizens made aware of the problem. And they'll keep quiet. Not by choice, but if more people learn of this, it will be a problem. For me, it will be a problem for you then. So I'd suggest you take care of it quickly.
I believe Roderick is handling the citizenry as we speak.
Sure. Yes, let's say that. Sure he is. He's handling the citizens in a public capacity. I'm handling any potential leaks otherwise.
That's fair. And when we remedy our mutual problem, the the compensation, shall we say?
The
work rendered?
compensation is your life. I thought I'd made that clear. If you don't take care of this, you will be hunted down. I have many resources. Of course, you could get on your ship, leave right now, and I'll handle the problem of the grain. But I'm giving you a chance if you'd like to deal with that situation, make sure no one asks any questions, and let's just say, as a favor, I can, as you requested, try to gain you some sort of negotiation with some non-terrestrial business partners. Perhaps I have connections. I can offer you that. At least I can try. I'm willing to do that. But in the meantime, you better have a plan, and someone needs to deal with this very, very quickly. Of course, I did say we do need partners, obviously, to transport and trade in some of our more extraordinary goods. That, obviously, is the profit motivation for you.
Indeed, and to which I was referring.
I can give you access, and what you do with it, well, I have my uses, but that doesn't mean there aren't other customers who could utilize this. Customers with very, very deep pockets. Those would be your customers to find. I'm simply asking for, obviously, my cut of the profits for supplying the goods. Standard distribution fees, and you can do with it what you will. I can get more than I have now, more than I trade now. Certainly with the warp storm opening, the business opportunities are vast. I would prefer not to traffic in those lanes. But you go there all the time. You're not a new face. And certainly there may be parties willing to purchase these goods for vast, vast sums of money.
So when he says that, Venari just like slowly a grin spreads across his face, and he says, I believe we have an accord.
Well, that sounds just fine by me. I look forward to future endeavors. Now, if you would, please handle this visibility problem we have. And in the meantime, I'll have my seneschal begin making some contacts, and we'll see if there's a way to offload the tainted crop that you have stored on planet at the moment. And in the meantime, I can also get additional deliveries of product if you're looking for some more immediate trade opportunities.
Sounds outstanding.
Well, do not disappoint. I don't like to request more product than I can reasonably deal with. So I'm taking a leap that you're as good as, at least the rumors seem to say, and that as a rogue trader, you have the ability to find a way to make things happen.
Indeed, I do.
Excellent. Well, it was a pleasure speaking. Come back. I will be here. I'm here many, many hours of the day. And you can always come back and return. If not, ask one of the guards. They will find me or seek me out.
I take my leave. And he does not give him as crisp a bow on the way out.
He just kind of does a wave off and then starts kind of discussing with several of the sort of librarian functionary folks on the data slates, and is kind of waving his seneschal over.
As Venari turns and walks out, his grin like just sours as he clears the door.
After that conversation, as you go back to the dining room, at that point, the rest of the crew would have shown up. I will say Emmaus and Kynnoch showed up with a few minutes before Venari shows up, and sees Jarnan eating at a large table with very fancy foods and such.
So Jarnan has Kynnoch and I have been doing some investigations up on the ship. Is there anything going on planet side that we need to know about?
Yes, there absolutely is. I would also like to know about it. We're going to have to wait for our glorious rogue trader to get back from his secret meeting before he will tell any of us.
Does this have anything to do with why you are partaking in such an extravagant meal? I thought that your kind had vows of simplicity and such.
Yeah, no, don't misunderstand. None of this food is mine. It is from our captain and his lady friends. They decided to indulge themselves. I'm picking what few basic necessities actually happen to manage to end up on this table.
And he'll walk over and see if there's is the bottle of Amasec and stuff still out, or?
Yes.
Yeah, he'll go over and pour himself a little glass, and was like, "This looks like a rather basic necessity, if I do say." And pour and start sipping.
Kynnoch's a 10 a.m. drinker.
You gotta, loosen up that third eye,
Right?
get it ready.
Is that what they call it nowadays?
Yeah. As you're waiting there for a little bit before Venari walks back in.
He looks less than pleased when he comes in. Like he was in high spirits when he left, and he just looks as concerned as Venari gets, I guess, right? I mean,
Yeah. I mean, as a rogue trader, you're still flippant about most danger.
yeah. But you can tell his mood has subtly changed from, when he left.
Yeah.
So he just walks up to the table. He doesn't sit. He sees that Kynnoch is drinking and just kind of like, kind of throws his head back, like approving, sort of like, "Oh, all right, you're drinking too. All right, it's cool." And just like, I'm assuming the bottle's in front of you, just like grabs the bottle and like a long pull and slams it back down on the table. He looks over to Jarnan and he says, "Well, the younger brother has no faith in Roderick to handle anything, apparently. He has seen fit to give us 24 hours to fix," he uses air quotes, "the problem." He looks to Kynnoch and Emmaus. He says, "Did you guys find anything last night that we can use other than just setting everything on fire?"
Well, actually, and he'll gesture over to Emmaus. He's like, myself and your pilot here discovered a rather interesting signal coming from over in the mountains. It was very strong power. We believe that it might have a connection to whatever is going on with the grain and the like of this small city."
And by power, do you mean power of the Imperium, or specifically the warp?
It was,
that you
if
were
I
feeling?
if I recall, it was a heavy warp energy, wasn't it? Right?
Yeah.
Yes, most definitely it was Imperium energy.
Warp energy.
Yes, yeah.
That's just the opposite of what you just said.
Yeah. Immaterium or warp.
Oh, that's right. Yeah,
It's
Immaterium. That's right.
Immaterium, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I
Well,
got my notes mixed up.
that's good. We assumed, based on your dealings with the warp and the immaterium, that there was something in that direction. If I recall, you said that the fields themselves here, the freshly growing crop, was as yet untainted.
Yes, the new harvest should be fine. It is the older stuff reaching back from their original covering of the warp storm that was the strongest in the warp energies.
All right, and there was no. We weren't specifically tasked with bringing back 200 years worth of grain stored here on the planet, so we could probably hand wave away most of this, and I guess we'll have to check to see with the temple. Although maybe we don't want to go there now. I can check with Lavina how closely they are to harvesting the grain for this season.
I would think that would be the best thing, is just to get something to take back to finish off that part of the deal we made. We still have to decide how and if we get more involved on the overarching problems on the planet.
Well, and that's where the problem lay. I say we have 24 hours to solve the problem. And it was intimated very clearly that if the problem is not solved, that we should not be here within 24 hours. So, I mean, we need to secure the planet for the Imperium. If doing so means rooting out some warp entity, then I suppose that's the mission that lays before us.
Would this be something that would be strictly and only resting on the shoulders of the Heretic's Bane, or will we have other support planet side?
Well, I can talk to Roderick and see if he has a contingent of soldiers that he may be willing to lend to us to take with us. I know we have Jarnan's shining beacon of light through the Emperor, so I'm sure everything will be fine.
Jarnan's gonna shoot you a dirty look. Doesn't really say much.
He probably just ignores it. Like, he's aggravated now, or else he would just, like, word dance with you. But now he's annoyed. So
I think the big thing that we just found out is now there's some kind of time limit on it. This wasn't anything. This wasn't anything that was known before. We just knew we had to come here to get the tithe. So the fact that now Venari's saying we have 24 hours to fix it or be gone, I guess that's new news to us, right?
Yeah. I
Okay.
mean, I just found this out, so.
So I just wanted to make sure. So Mace looks to Venari and says, this day deadline, I'm assuming this kind of hampers us on what actions we can take now. How substantial is this deadline, and what are the consequences of not meeting it?
Short of killing Egon, I'd say that it would result in a failure of our mission and a complication for the Imperium. It would be a black mark on the Heretic's Bane, and I can't abide that.
So I, assuming that we should, no matter if the grain harvest is ready or not, I guess we should get someone to help us start getting some grain up, at least so we can take something back.
Well, to the word of our mission, we were here to reestablish contact. If there's grain to take, we may do so. If there's not, it's been 200 years. I'm sure that we can come up with some sort of excuse as to why they are not ready with a tithe currently.
Oh, yes, because the Emperor and the Imperium are so understanding.
Well, the Emperor is full of love, is he not, Jarnan?
You're going to be full of the Emperor's love if you don't watch your tone.
I merely wish to express that the Emperor encompasses all.
And Jarnan is going to turn his gaze towards Kynnoch. That meant you.
He'll shoot him a loving smile.
So I guess Emmaus will look back to, Venari would kind of take everybody in and say, I guess I've been looking at this the wrong way. I've been focusing on specifically logistics and loading. It seems like we have a bigger issue that needs to be resolved. And from what the captain just said, I guess the details of the tithe can be massaged one way or another. We can make the stats into facts any way we want them as we're here reestablishing contact. So what is the first thing we should be focusing on right now? Because I do not get the feeling that the actual grain tithe is our most serious action we need to take at the moment.
Indeed, it is not. We are under no time constraint from the Imperium itself. We can handle that as we wish when we get back, but we must address the source of the contamination.
No,
And so I was going to say Emmaus is going to look to Kynnoch and just say, is there anything you want to fill in from your knowledge of what we discovered up on the ship?
Without further investigation and more up close look, there's the only thing we have thus far is the strong warp essence that is emanating from the mountains. But until we actually step foot there and look at what the source actually is, I'm afraid that we have no further information. And from the Heretic's Bane, unfortunately, our sensors were also not able to pick up any significant details that would be helping in our matters.
And the energy that you sense, can you get a specific telling? Does it feel like a specific warp signature?
Neil, was I able to figure that? Is there any way to kind of figure that out? Could we tell whether it was like a ship warp's energy or if it was like a more natural source?
Demon.
It's not like an engine signature for sure.
Okay,
So it's not like a mechanical. It's not like it's not. It's more warp power, so like warp, like psychic energy, than it is a manipulation of the warp to travel like an engine.
So
would
more,
do.
So more of a natural element.
Yeah. Or akin to obviously what like a psyker would implement. So it's more, Yeah.
No. So yes, this is definitely a more pure source of the immaterium. This is not something that has been created in a sense.
Well, I don't suppose they'd want us to bombard the planet from space, although that may be the only way to be sure. I guess we need to seek out Roderick and see if he has any troops to spare. Otherwise, it looks like we're on our own.
So just outside. So I'm assuming Egon is working around the fringes. So he's not. Roderick and Egon aren't like a team on this, right? I'm assuming this is the vibe I'm picking up.
Out of
Outside.
character, yes.
Okay.
Egon is sort of like Roderick kind of is so involved in like running the company stuff or running the colony, and Egon is kind of like, well, why he's off doing stuff since I'm not allowed to be in charge of anything, since I'm the younger brother, I kind of do this other illegal shit.
Okay, and we've all met Egon because he stopped us at the last when we were coming out.
It was Roderick.
Roderick, yeah.
Roderick.
The only one that's met Egon is Venari.
Okay. And that's why I just wanted to clear up. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
That was confused. I couldn't remember from the last time if it was Roderick or Egon who was the one that stopped us. Okay, gotcha.
Yep.
Well, if you gentlemen are ready. And he looks around the room for, an attendant or someone who would, work at the palace.
There's some functionary there.
Okay, so he waves him over and he says, "We must speak with Roderick."
Indeed, I will summon an audience with him at once. He goes over, kind of tells you to wait there. Speaks into sort of a intercom system, and says, comes back over. Please, if you'll follow me, he will have an audience with you at this moment.
He starts to walk away, and then out of the corner of the eye, he sees the bottle again, and he just takes another long pull, and then he goes to put it down, and then he's like, "Ah, fuck it," and he hands it to the skull.
Yeah.
Okay. Give me a toughness check.
All right. Am I adding carouse or anything like that to this?
If you have a bonus to carouse, yeah.
I don't.
A drinking test.
Yeah. All right. My toughness is 40, so here's hoping. Ooh, 50. I should have called him the other way around.
How much did you miss by?
10, 1 degree.
Okay. You'll take -5 to any test for the next hour till you sober up, unless you keep drinking. Just so you know. Okay. Yeah, you're just starting to feel a little bit of the amasec at this point, even though you've had quite a bit to eat. It's still not soaking all that up.
Yeah, he just took 2 really big pulls.
Yeah, that's the only reason. I was like, yeah, you're drinking a good bit, so.
Yeah. All right, so as they're walking down the hall, and he's not muttering to himself, but he's just kind of he's in thought, and as they're walking, the guy's silent, and he just kind of bumps into Emmaus. Well, I assume doesn't say anything, just kind of pushes him back up.
Yeah, you just shoot a look to the other 2 guys and just keep walking. You're the captain. You can get away with it a bit. I guess we'll see where it goes when you start talking.
You're right.
Okay. As you go through the hallways, you reach sort of the larger of the staterooms. As they open the doors, Roderick is sitting at a large throne as Egon was, but this is a little more fancy, a little more a little larger, a little more ornate, and obviously the table is grander. This is sort of the official receiving room. He's seated there, reviewing data slates. Looks up as you come in. Ah, gentlemen, it's good to see you again. What do I owe the honors?
The crew has determined that we have been able to pinpoint more or less what we perceive to be the source of the contamination.
Excellent. That's good news.
We wish to go investigate. We'll need a vehicle, of course, to head to the west. I was wondering if you may perhaps have any troops that you could spare on the journey.
How many are you looking for?
He smiles. He tries to do like a quick calculation, like how big is the city? Like how big would he think? Can I make like a?
Do you have warfare or war or
have Imperium?
Sure, you can make. Yeah, you can do Imperium. Give you like a size at least.
You want to give me a minus on that, or
no?
All right. Let's see. So int's 40. Yeah, that's the same. Trained. Yep. All right. Oh, 78. He doesn't know. Fuck, there's some guys here. I don't know.
Yeah, you're like, I don't know. It seems like a big city. It's a capital.
100?
100 men for what? I mean, what is it exactly you need these troops for?
Well, I mean, we are dealing with a warp contamination, potentially a warp entity.
A warp entity? In the West? That's wasteland. Why would it have been there?
Who knows why the warp does what it does? Your psychers, your own men felt the pull of the warp in that direction just last night.
I suppose so, yes. I can't give you 100 troops. Don't you have your own men to take care of these types of things?
Out of character.
Perhaps I could give you 10. I mean, yeah, I guess. Well, oh, geez. I don't know if we have requisition troops, but I assumed you had 100 troops at some point.
Well, so the mercenaries are all disposed in other places. I don't know if we have a contingent that comes with the ship of, like, grunts. I mean, we have Kane's men, which are now my men.
Yeah, I mean, that's 10 guys.
Well, it's maybe like 7, because we left some of them.
That's right. Some of them leave. Yeah, that's right. Some of them were, I guess, at least a couple of them stayed back. I mean, I'm sure you have, like some number of just conscript level guys with las guns or whatever, that are just kind of your general guys. That's up to you. He makes a counter offer and says he could send 20 men with you if necessary, but without knowing more, he's not going to risk more than that of the planetary guard to some quote warp danger that you know nothing about.
Yeah, I mean, that's fair. He turns to look at Emmaus. Well, I don't know, what the fuck does he say? So he just looks at him and he says, Emmaus, your thoughts?
I think it depends on how safe or how cautious you want to be. I don't think taking the Heretic's Bane and positioning it further to where we saw the signal, that may be a bit much. We may want to break up the crew into some shuttles and make sure those shuttles are properly stocked. That may be the best way to do it. Until we get a better understanding of what is out there. I don't know if we want to shift our whole ship over to there. I think if we can get some men, if they are graciously offered to us, we should be able to stock out a few shuttles and be prepared enough to do some initial investigations.
I don't know that we have time to wait for Kane's men, my men, to come down. It's a process of a few hours. We have at least 4 of them here, correct? We have 2 shuttles here currently.
Yeah, we should have 2 shuttles because Kynnoch and I came down on one, and there should be the initial shuttle.
And
I'm thinking.
Yeah, I'm assuming out of character, like those, like Kane's guys are our guys when we do that. I mean, they've been thus far.
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
Of course, one of them's got to fly. Well, we have Emmaus, I guess. We only need to save one of those fucking guys
to fly it.
So he just like he waves his hand absently, and he's like, "Pardon, my apologies. We should be able to handle this with our own forces. I believe you have other business to attend to, investigation at the temple that you've been undertaking to reduce the spread of any rumors of contamination or warp energies thereof." So out of character, Venari had suggested to him that they investigate the temple to take whatever means necessary to suss out whether or not, anyone else had been, contaminated by the warp, if there were other, chaos agents or whatever. Like, they were going to do that on the sly. Now, how effective he was going to be at that based on what Egon says is a whole other scenario.
Yeah, that would require some additional rolls for sure. If someone's going to try to suss out who may or may not be in on what's going on, that's an inquiry roll.
That was on them, right? Like, I mean, that was when he went back to the palace. Like, we had a conversation of like,
that would be on them to decide how they're going to do that. And if you're going to do that, you're definitely going to need inquiry is the kind of like gather intelligence from crowds type.
No, he's leaving it for them to do it. Like, that was the conversation. So he's just like reiterating like, oh, okay, use those guys. And like, you're doing a thing already, right? Like, maybe you're better served, to like keep your guys here kind of thing. However he reacts to that.
Wait, is this to me?
That was to Roderick.
Oh, you're not with him still. What's happening?
Yeah, we never left.
Sorry. I thought. Why am I? I'm sorry. I'm blanking out.
So much editing.
Sorry. Just edit all this.
Because I asked him for the guys, and he was like, "No, like that's too many. I'll give you 20." So he turned to Emmaus and was like, "What's your tactical assessment of the situation?" And he's like, And then he's like, no, forget it. Like, fuck it. We'll handle it. Like, maybe it's better served for you to keep these guys here to do whatever you're doing, and we'll just.
Sorry, yeah, I was reading something at the moment. I was going through other stats. Okay, yeah. He says that's fine, of course. I'll use my men as necessary to quell any additional talk, and to we'll make sure we route out any unsavory characters who remain within the Harvest Church.
Excellent. I have full faith in your ability.
As you should. I've been governor of this planet for years, and we've not had nearly as many problems since you've shown up. So I'm sure we'll be able to handle it on our own here.
You see his jaw clench when he says that, and he inclines his head. He's like, all right, we will have a report as soon as possible.
I look forward to it.
And he gives him a bow and turns on his heel and doesn't say anything, just fucking walks out, waits for the crew to follow.
So, Captain, should we start lining up, getting the shuttles prepared? Checking our inventory before we head off, or is there anything else we need to do before we do that?
No, I believe we have everything that we need. And he, like, pats his sword. I think anything that we find there is necessarily going to be hostile. If indeed it is sentient or non-sentient for that matter, warp entities being what they are. Hopefully this doesn't take that long. If it's an infestation, then we may just wash our hands of this planet anyway and take our leave.
Okay, so I will start. So I'll walk a bit ahead and touch my microbead because I'm assuming I can talk to the shuttles. They're close enough, and we'll start getting that prepared to go head off.
Yeah, Roger. They will ready the shuttles. We'll be ready when you get here.
Okay, thank you. And then we'll look back to Kynnoch and say, Kynnoch, is there any specific preparations you need to make before we go, or the data slate with the coordinates, is that all we need at the moment?
No, I'm pretty sure at this point all we need is to know where to go and where to get into trouble.
We've had plenty of that already. Jarnan, are you prepared? Is there any rites or anything that we should say before we go?
Don't worry. I'll take care of it en route. I don't think the God Emperor needs to hear your voice anymore this morning.
Indeed. You know best.
Okay, so what is your immediate plan of action?
I guess we find transportation back to the spaceport and then jump on the shuttles and head out to fight a warp demon.
As usual, we jump in headstrong without doing any further research and probably get killed.
We'll find out. I was just like, okay. Let's see.
Well, so here's Venari's thing. He's handling the temple. Roderick's handling the temple.
Yeah.
We're on a time crunch now.
Yeah, sure.
There's money to be made. And we've got Jarnan his flamethrower. Like, what could go wrong?
Sure. Yeah. Hey, I'm not arguing with it. I was just double checking what you're doing.
Hey, nothing ever goes wrong when Jarnan pulls out his flamethrower. All right.
Yeah, it tends to really do some damage that I don't anticipate. It's the problem. That's what I really do. I'm like, this is surely going to be a tough. Never mind. It's dead. It's just a fucking burning lump. Never mind.
See, that's why this warp demon is fire resistant.
Yeah, you know that's going to happen.
It's a great point, actually. Just put that on there. I don't even know if resistance to particular elements is a thing in this game at this point.
I don't know.
I don't think it is.
Its agility is 95. Look at that. He made the roll.
Sure. There could be other stuff in there too. It's pretty exciting.
See, when you say it like that, I don't want to do it.
There's cool stuff. Don't worry, you got it. Okay. Yeah. So if you get in the shuttles, and you can triangulate a position in the desert, it's very far into the wasteland. As you fly over and get closer, you don't actually see, and it doesn't look to be a structure. It's not like a building or anything. It's sort of rocky outcroppings, and you do see a large sort of cave open up in the side of the rocks, but it's not like it was like a dome or a building. So the outcropping looks just sort of naturally-ish occurring, but this is definitely the point that you scanned, and it goes what looks to be fairly deep into the earth.
How many the shuttles are big, right? Like, we get like 100 dudes on a shuttle.
Yeah, they're pretty big. Yeah, sure.
Okay, so we're all on one shuttle then. I'm assuming.
Yeah. You're definitely all on one shuttle. Yeah.
Okay, I'm thinking like Star Wars Land the Shuttle, where you got like 3 guys and some cargo, and I'm like, I guess we'll need them both.
No, this is like this. Yeah, the shuttles are big.
So basically our shuttle is like Serenity.
Yeah. Or bigger. Yeah. I mean, you could fit like, I mean, you couldn't fit a bunch of cargo on 100 dudes, but you could fit 100 dudes or more. Yeah, you might be able to fit more. Yeah, probably like 100 dudes at least, in the, like, if you just pack them in ready for a drop and get out and start fighting type deal. And there's bigger transports you would have also theoretically, but right now you just have shuttles. So.
Yeah, well, we weren't anticipating moving like, an army to the planet.
Yeah. I mean, like, Serenity would probably be a good size. Yeah.
Okay. I think, no, maybe not. I think that Venari would grab Emmaus on the flight. Like, I'm assuming it's more than like 10 minutes. It's like an hour.
Yeah.
He wanders away, like, touches Emmaus on the shoulder and like wanders to the back of the shuttle.
Anything I can help you with?
Yeah, we get away from everybody else, and then he's like, he kind of rubs his face, and he's like, well, so I had hoped to be able to speak to you before I spoke to Egon. We have an interesting series of opportunities laid before us. Of course, first we must deal with the situation at hand, and we've been given quite a short leash on that front. But I don't know if you've noticed or not. Of course, we've heard that black ships have not landed here in, these many hundred years, and yet, other than the 2 psychers that Roderick brought with him, there appears to be no psychers on the planet at all. It seems strange, does it not?
I would be highly suspect if a planet of this size, even though it is just an agricultural planet, would only have 2 psychers throughout the whole population. That is definitely a questionable statement.
The black organic material that Kynnoch found on the grain, apparently that can be harvested. I'm not sure, but it has the ability to cloak a psyker. We have an opportunity to procure said material and possibly make quite a tidy sum.
I would agree with you, but I would have to leave that up to your fast connections of how quickly or how easily we would be able to move that for sale. It's not like we could just go to a market and put up a stall to start selling. I don't know if how easy it would facilitate making connections to sell that, but I could definitely see a lot of profit in doing that.
Indeed. Do you think this is a wise decision? Wise course of action?
Let me roll.
I don't know. Let me roll some dice.
See what high or low. Obviously, you are the captain. I would follow your lead on the way you want to go. From my standpoint, I don't see an issue with that personally. I could see complications arising if that got to be well known among all of us. But from my standpoint, I'm here to work for you and do what I need to do for the Heretic's Bane.
Indeed, this is why you are my number two. While Jarnan commands that place of respect in the hierarchy within the command crew, with the loss of Kane, I need someone who has my back. I know we've had this discussion once before.
So I'm here for that and for you. I would just like to point out, obviously, that this would have to be handled very delicately if this is the route you would want to go. Definitely need to think this through and only involve those who would buy into the plan if you go forward with it.
And like he just puts his finger up between them and kind of like points back and forth. Like, this is why we're having this conversation.
I'll shake my head. Said that's obviously what I was meaning, sir.
Yes, indeed. The other item of business is that with the amount of grain that they have stored, it's a tidy sum to lose. Egon may be able to set up an arrangement with some less than desirable people. He uses air quotes. This one would be certainly more complicated unless we could convince Jarnan that by providing the tainted grain for thrones and poisoning or corrupting some unsuspecting Xenos, that it is for the good of the Empire itself?
I think the only two concerns I would have for that, Captain, is the transportation of the grain. If we can guarantee that it won't have a corrupting influence on us or the ship, if we can make sure that that is sealed off somewhere while we're transporting it, I don't have an issue with that. The second issue is obviously how we would phrase this to Jarnan. We definitely have to focus more on the fact that we are trading with people, quote, I'll do air quotes, people that he would not agree to be involved with. But if we can frame this as we are actually doing damage to them or using circuitous routes to fight the Imperium's enemies, then I think that's the best way to go about it. I don't think he'd be happy if we were just trading, but if he did see the effects, if we can focus on the effects that would have by trading the tainted grain to our enemies, then I think he may be able to go. He may go along with it. But you would have to definitely figure out a way to phrase that and get that point across. Indeed,
Perhaps a healthy donation to the ecclesiarchy wouldn't hurt either.
Well, we are working on a mission doing tithes now, so tithes can go more than one way, I'm assuming.
Yes, indeed. All right. Well, I mean, we could always trade the grain and then blow them out of the sky.
Yes, or let the grain do its business. Obviously, we know it has a warping effect. We would just have to make sure whoever we trade with, that effect would be detrimental to them.
Perhaps when we get back from completion of this aspect of the mission, we can check with Kynnoch to see if he thinks what the effects may be. Maybe we could even find a space rat or some such thing to feed the grain to and observe the effects and see whether or not it is detrimental or not.
I think that would definitely be the first step, and then the transportation. I don't know if we would need Kynnoch's help in seeing if there is a safe way to transport this without affecting ourselves or the Heretic's Bane. I'm sure we can find a way to do that, but it may be worth running that by Kynnoch also.
Yes, an excellent suggestion, one I had not considered. You're a good man, Emmaus.
Thank you, sir, and I'm here to serve.
As I would expect. And he walks away from you back to the bridge or to the little pilot area.
Okay.
And we've lost Neil, so I guess we're taking smoke him if you got him. Well, that'll be an interesting conversation when and if that happens.
Well, just from a ship standpoint, I'm assuming there's parts of the ship that we can quarantine stuff that doesn't. Obviously, if this is, my concern is if we're hauling around a whole bunch of warp tainted shit, how's that going to help us when we go?
Yeah.
Make sure if we're trying to do some flying that it doesn't have to have effect on the ship or just people themselves. I'm sure there might be areas where that we can hive this off and store it somewhere just to make sure it doesn't f with us when we're trying to fly through the warp kind of thing, or drag nasties on the ship while we're going through it.
Yeah, I mean, even if we took the worst of it and then sold the really fucked up stuff and then just burned the newer stuff. It's not an all or nothing thing, right? So we can do, any combination of things with the grain.
Yeah.
Up to and including just incinerating everything and starting over from scratch.
Well, I think as long as we bring something back, say this is the tithe, and we can spin any yarn we want about bad harvest, or if we even bring into the fact that that shit's tainted, I guess we can get on. I don't think we weren't given you have to bring back a certain amount for the tithe. It was just bring back the tithe and make contact kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then we can always, if we go back and say, look, we found this, you guys can go, burn the planet down or whatever you want, as long as we pass that information on.
Yeah. And he can find out that information from Lavina, whether or not, the grain is almost ready. What the annual tithe is, if that's something that we could even fit on the ship, or we just like, hey, your shit's ready, go back and get it, like we did our part,
Well, we can always be real pedantic and say, you told us to bring back the annual tithe. The annual tithe is a year of tithe, so here you go. There's about 200 years of it worth. Yeah, we can play word games if we have to.
Sure. All right, so we both wind up back in the cabin, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You spend it's a little over an hour before you get to the spot. There is a place close enough to land. At that point, the pilot takes it down, I presume, unless you want to do something else.
He would have one of the guys on the door gun, and then we have some kind of scanner on the shuttle, or no? I don't remember. I thought we did.
There's an Auspex, yeah.
All right, so he would want whoever's piloting, or whoever's best suited. Maybe that's Emmaus to run the scanners and see, now that we're close, what sort of stuff we can pick up on the Auspex, and then he would also ask Kynnoch to feel with his psi powers if he, what do you feel?
Okay. I don't know what. So the Auspex would be scrutiny plus the Auspex bonus. That's going to be 10? I don't know, 10. I would say is a good bonus for a shuttle. Your ships is probably I think your ships is like fucking 20 or 28 or something.
Or something like that, yeah.
Something high. So a shuttle will be like 10. So you get a plus 10 to that. The crew person flying, I presume, is one of Kane's men. So he would be better than normal. So there, I think good, I think, not excellent. I think it's a instead of a 30, it's a 40 base.
Yeah, they're crack. Yeah.
Yeah, crack. That's right. So it's 40.
Are they? I mean, it's across the board, right? So there's no no training or not training. It's just a 40 across the board.
Yeah.
Right,
so they'd be 40 plus 10. So I don't know if any of you have a better scrutiny than 40.
I don't think anybody has it.
Oh,
I have
really?
scrutiny.
Oh, do you?
Yeah, I thought he did.
Yeah. Mine would be what was that? That's perception. So mine would be 50. So I think we're both the same.
Then I would say you roll it out of character's roll over me rolling.
And then, so as you're, fuck, would I give it to you? Or would I give it to? Could I give Kynnoch 10 on a power like that? Like that's a different kind of.
Yeah, you can, but you couldn't get. Yeah, you can only give it to one of them, but yeah, you could.
He's gonna give it to Kynnoch. So as Emmaus is like over the dials,
And Kynnoch would be Senescence, but
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just doing a regular scan with the equipment, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Okay. 45 out of 50.
You get slightly. I mean, you get slightly more detailed information, at least of the entrance. It looks like it's a natural entrance to the cave, and then, however, it looks like the scan looks like it's a more measured pathway down. It goes relatively deep, and then sort of opens up into the sort of domed structure that you saw from the other Auspex scan from orbit. Relatively large room or structure under the underground. That's all you can really tell. There are no signs of life or anything inside.
Okay. So it looks like it's kind of a natural beginning, but then it's kind of worked down further. You know, it's not a river cleared cave. It's okay.
Yeah.
So I'll tell the captain. I'll say it looks like it's a man-made passageway down underneath into the structure. It's not picking up any signs of life at the moment, though.
He looks over to Kynnoch and he says, would a warp creature, do you think, show up on a Auspex scan, or is that something that would be strictly under your purview?
I believe it all depends on the size of the creature, but a normal warp demon would not show up any more than you or I.
Interesting. Well, see what you can find, and don't fuck it up.
Nod his head curtly at your
bonus
captaintude. Yeah. And so I will focus, reveal my third eye under the hood as to not totally scare all you motherfuckers. And I got a 19 out of 58 for senescence. That is 3 degrees of success.
Nice.
Sure. So you feel some very interesting warp signatures. One, you feel a residual warp signature of a fairly strong warp power level. However, that it's like a shadow or an echo of power, though. So it's not there anymore. But it's as if there was some more a stronger beacon of warp energy here recently that now has dissipated, but is leaving sort of like a vacuum almost. But in the center of that vacuum is most definitely a relatively strong psychic presence. That is sort of emitting, enough of a signature that you can feel it, but not necessarily anything else in the area.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'll pass on. Basically, there's a lot of residual energy along the area, and there's definitely a force about here, and I can feel something strong in the center here. I cannot exactly tell what it is, the origin. However, I can say for sure that it is some type of psychic phenomenon.
That's what we expected, I suppose. And as you like start to turn, he like throws a hand up. He's like, "Whoa! Throw the hoods down." Hey, we should probably come up with some kind of plan, because when you with the hood, it's not a good. So maybe you go first when we go in, and then just don't like turn around ever. Like I just, same team.
Yes, sorry, I am not used to others being around. And so in the heat of the moment, my precautions might go that of the wind. So yes, I will try to be more thoughtful in regards to the rest of you around me. Maybe I'll give you a cautious little wave before I'm about to release the abilities of the warp.
That would be most helpful. Like he, like accentuates it by pointing. So since your own abilities are tied to the warp, do you foresee a problem with you interacting with this residual energy?
Do I?
You are. You would, well, as a navigator, you wouldn't necessarily be entirely more susceptible to corruption as a normal psyker would be. Navigator abilities are somewhat tempered, and essentially it's like, like there's a clamp put on it and you can only do certain stuff. So you are not as influenced as a psyker would be, but at the same time, interacting with an entity would not necessarily be more dangerous. It's more dangerous for a psyker to be pushing his psychic powers than it is to interact with an entity, because they're actually usually willpower. Higher willpower means you're going to resist it anyway. So psychers tend to be both more corruptible because of their own power, but less corruptible from outside sources because they actually are trained to fight it off. So you wouldn't necessarily be more corruptible, but you're, as a navigator, you may not necessarily have any powers to dampen that effect either, right? So
yeah, but just because I'm in touch with the warp, though, doesn't mean it actually might make me less susceptible to just general warp energy. But at the same time, I'm not. It doesn't necessarily mean that I'm
functionally. You're probably like everyone else.
Exactly. Yeah.
Except you can detect it better, but you won't get corrupted anymore because it's kind of been locked from your abilities. So even if you run into like a warp demon, it can't like corrupt you more because you've basically been like functionally like shut down to a point of having only the ability to do the navigation stuff.
Right.
So it's more perception of the warp than manipulation of the warp. So that's why you're maybe not less susceptible, but you're equally susceptible as anyone else. You actually might be in a better position, though, because of your willpower, or at least knowledge of warp stuff. You might be able to not fall into some of those traps.
Right. So I'll just he's kind of wrapped up right now, but there's kind of a glowering of the eye, and he's like, no.
Excellent. If nothing comes out, we know something's further down. You would just signal to the pilot to land.
Sure. You land quite easily.
Is the cave big enough to fly into?
No.
Okay. All right.
Certainly not this size of ship, for sure.
Sure. Okay. Yep. Oh, that's right. We're looking to surround anything. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we, Jarnan, have the rites been said? Or we have the blessing of the God Emperor to proceed on our mission?
Yes, I took the opportunity when everyone else was scanning the cave system with different techniques to be praying to the God Emperor, so we are all set to continue.
All right. Well, I suppose we should head down and investigate. We shouldn't be surprised. We know there's something there, so everyone be at the ready.
Okay. Are you gonna essentially head out and go into the cave? I'm guessing.
Yeah. All right, so I mean, out of character, are we gonna bring 3 of these guys with us? Because like my fear is that they're at 40, which is still a better willpower than what I have. But I think we bring them, right? I mean, I think we bring 3 out of the 4 guys.
That's your crew's decision.
Yeah, I would say bring a couple. At least leave one back at the shuttle. If you have, just bring a few of them. It's good to have some extra people around.
Yeah. And they're not terrible. I don't know what I think they had. I think they had bolters too. I think Kane made the roll to get bolters for those guys. So they're not
I think so.
Yeah, they're not shooting last pistols. So
yeah.
I don't remember the guys' names, but he points to the guy who's piloting the ship, and he's like, "All right, wait here. Keep the engines running. We will be in contact as far as we can. I don't know if we'll lose communications at all. If you see us running, make sure you got your foot on the fucking pedal."
Aye, sir.
You guys, with us. Stay behind the Navigator. Come back over here. And he just kind of sweeps his arm for Kynnoch to lead us down.
And he'll lead you walking out of there.
Yeah, we grab lumen globes, flashlights, whatever whatever shit we need to. I'm assuming it's going to be dark, so
yeah.
The skull's got the globe on it, so he's shining some light.
I need nothing but my third eye.
I'm just going to use one of the red shirts as a torch.
Nice.
Light them up.
So you start heading down. It starts off at it's a large cavern that you're entering, but not obviously big enough for a full shuttle. As you're going, you get to more roughly hewn steps that look like it was some sort of fashioned man-made structure. At least the walls have been cleared out, and it looks like braces have been put up anywhere that it might be, precarious or to prevent any cave-ins from occurring. It looks relatively maintained. As you go further down, it's a mostly straight path, slight bends down, but for the most part straight. It does get a little bit smaller, so it's maybe three shoulders, 3 shoulder to shoulder people across at the very end. So it kind of narrows down a bit, but still wide, and probably 15, 20 feet high. So it's large enough to at least be comfortable. You're not ducking under anything. As you get closer to the what you presume would be the bottom, you see sort of a dark, opening where the end of the tunnel leads into, as you step through, a sort of a massive domed chamber. Give me, without rolling anything yet. It's a massive dome chamber. There seems to be an arrangement of very faintly luminescent rocks or gems or some luminescent material that looks to be arranged in the center of the dome that casts a sort of eerie, dim red light throughout the cavern. It does look, again, man-made. Looks like as it was carved out on purpose. There are runes scrawled upon the dome and walls. In addition, without needing any perception checks or anything, you are able to see what looks like sort of around the formation in the center that has the glowing red gems or stones. You see what looks to be a circle of skeletons, I would say, all in sort of a position of distressed screaming, some holding hands, some not, with their arms up, all kind of distorted. They all look blackened and charred, and there is most certainly a sort of blackened soot across the floor from that center area out beyond the skeletons.
Jarnan.
So as they get closer, when Venari would whisper to Kynnoch, like he'd come up behind him, like put a hand on his shoulder so he wouldn't turn around and be like, do you feel anything? Is it getting stronger? Is there, has it changed at all? Is there any, anything that we should be aware of, like as we're getting closer, as we get further down? Would another side check get us any more information?
Yeah, maybe, yeah.
All right. As I just drop my die on the ground. Let's see what we got here.
And take your 10.
How early do we want to fate point stuff? Is this important enough for me to want to fate point?
We only got 37 minutes left.
Yeah, so. I got a 99. So I'm gonna fate point.
Wait, why are we down here again? What side?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Son of a bitch. That's a 65 out of 58. So it's a failure.
Is that
with
the
0
10%?
degrees. Oh no, that is a 65 out of 68. So that is a success.
Oh. As you're heading down, you definitely feel a more. You can feel, and I don't want to say active. I also don't want to say alive.
What do you mean you can?
You feel for lack of a better word, alive. A live psychic presence.
Yeah. An active
presence. But I didn't want to say active either, because it's not like it might be casting a warp power on you or anything.
No, but yeah, I just assume it's
there's something that's a currently alive or whatever.
Yeah.
warp entity or warp sensitive or warp energy manipulative entity down, but certainly not. It's not like, for instance, like the God Emperor's beacon or anything, right? Like one of the elder gods isn't like down there,
right?
It's not like Slanesh or Teench or anything is like sitting there. You feel a presence, but you can definitely feel almost. It feels as you get closer as if there was a very strong warp and its signature, a warp energy that then was destroyed. So you get that is what the echoes you were getting were basically. It feels like there was a surge essentially of like warp energy before it is like destroyed.
And could I make a deduction that perhaps the lingering warp energy, and from the explosion of the destruction of could be these charred figures?
You could say that as a character. I think you could make that deduction.
Yeah.
Without having to roll anything. If you would
I'm
like to roll something for it, you could, but
I'm gonna make that deduction.
I don't know what you would deduce it is, but certainly it is ritualistic looking. And there's charred bodies. So it wouldn't be a leap of logic to think that might have something to do with that. Sure.
Yeah. All right, so he'll kind of take everything in and give the senses of around, and so he will turn to everyone and say, "There is a presence deep within here. It is of a very strong psychic nature. I can sense it from here. I also feel the lingering energies, and I believe that they are from these individuals. I have a sense that they, willfully or not, have been sacrificed, and that perhaps this other entity is feeding upon them. I do not know whether it is an ancient ritual, or if it is actually gaining power from them. I cannot be certain, but I do know that they are connected to this creature, whatever or whomever it may be."
Well, perhaps they summoned something they couldn't control.
Or perhaps they have been attempting to summon something which they wish to control.
I guess we are soon to find out.
What would you... So what is everyone doing at this point? So you're at the entrance. It's a fairly large cavern. So let's say at least 100 yards. At the center of it is the rocks, the gems that are glowing, with maybe 20-yard circle of still standing, stuck in whatever formation, skeletons. You, without any additional checks or anything, look to be human. They're not overtly non-human. Probably 20-yard ring sort of around those stones. And then yes, there are large symbols carved into the rocks. Not the center, the actual dome itself.
So 2 quick questions.
Sure.
Do these figures look like they died at the same time?
Oh. Do you have a check of some sort to allow you to determine that?
I have perception.
I would let you do a scrutiny.
That I do not have.
You could do a half check, like a half perception, half your level. Otherwise it's like Medicaid, or I mean, I can tell you they look, without any perception check, they all look the same.
The same, right? Yeah.
I don't know how you would determine timing without a check, though.
Yeah. Well, they don't. Well, so you said that they're in a circle.
Yeah.
Right. So they're not. They're not scattered about in any form. It
Nope.
looks very
They're actually still standing.
Yeah.
Some of which are like in a holding hand, like as if you assume they may have been holding hands in some way. But then not all of them are touching still, but they're actually still standing. They're not on the ground. It's like
so it
frozen.
doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't look like they were brought in like one at a time and like.
Oh, absolutely not that.
It's
whatever happened to them together, almost assuredly.
All right. In that case, so I'm going to kind of take that. And you said that there's all those symbols and everything around. Would perhaps a forbidden lore warp be able to figure out some of those?
Perhaps, yes, if you roll well.
Let's see. And I am just trained. That will be a 30 out of 53.
Oh, that's real bad for you. Yeah, you kind of didn't want to pass that one. You're looking, you 100%, you start looking around and the symbols going to start almost glowing faintly to you as you start recognizing them, and they almost rearrange themselves in your mind to be clearly reminiscent. Your navigator training had certainly given you enough knowledge of chaos to recognize chaos runes. So these are certainly runes meant in ritualistic practices of chaos worshippers. And as such, you start reading them. And I'll roll this one. The question is, as you recognize them, you certainly feel the presence of a corruptive warp energy. The question is, I really want to make you roll it, but you can decide. What do you recognize these as chaos runes, and you take 4 points of corruption. Thanks, Tondi. The question is, what do you do as they start shifting and rearranging themselves to be more discernible to you? Do you continue reading them, or do you stop trying to decipher them? So you know they're chaos runes. You don't know exactly what they're saying. But even that alone is a shock enough to your system. You feel the presence of a negative warp energy. Then the question is, what do you do?
So I just rolled a willpower test for myself.
That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
I was almost going to make you roll that, but yes.
So, quick question. So I have the Dark Soul And so its prolonged exposure to darkness has acted as inoculation against all that is foul, granting the explorer resilience against corruption. But it specifically mentions whenever he makes a malignancy test, he takes half the normal damage. So I have not made a test yet. So does that mean that I still take the normal corruption?
Yep. Yeah. Until you get a malignancy, then you'll reduce.
Gotcha. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. That's every 10 points, I believe.
Sounds good. All right. So yeah, he, noticing that they are, realizing what is going on and that he is kind of in the presence of chaos, so to speak, and obviously this is some type of chaotic ritual. He becomes almost enamored with it and decides that he must figure out the roots of this, and he will continue to read delving deeper into it.
Okay, Kynnoch, the group is standing there in a split second. He's told you kind of what he felt about the area. As you step in, you notice the scene I described, and you see Kynnoch start slowly, just walking slowly toward the center of the dome, looking around. I'm going to say, let's see what happens.
Can I make an awareness check?
Sure.
All right.
I'm going to be distracted looking at all the stuff that looks like it's saleable anyway, so I'll just notice that Kynnoch's walking over and kind of trust that he knows what he's doing, and I'll be looking at see if anything can be boosted in here to sell.
I got a 17 out of 37, so 2 degrees of success.
Okay. I mean, I don't know what you want other than you notice Kynnoch very intently staring and looking calculated at all of the runes on the dome, like very clearly looking at the dome and sort of like, like
to begin muttering,
processing.
Yeah. So it was more to see if we were going to get jumped by anything. Like they come in.
You don't see anything happen yet. Okay. Kynnoch is going. You you see him walking. Kynnoch, you the runes start rearranging themselves, and you are going to take another point of corruption, just one. As you start reading them, it's all you get before a searing red hot pain in your head makes you sort of stumble and fall to the ground is Death of the Gods. You read, and then it's just a flash of pain. You fall to your knees. Everyone sees Kynnoch fall to his knees. As he does so, a flame bursts from the center of the room where the gems are, and you see what looks to be a horrific demon standing on top of the gems, and I guess we're going to roll initiative, as it says, "Mortals, how dare you desecrate our shrine?"
Oh shit! So it's a D10 plus your agility bonus.
Yep.
I got 11.
And Kynnoch's going to be out one round for
Damn
I got 14.
I mean, I was hoping you'd get more corruption personally, but that was pretty good.
Well, I'm going to have questions about corruption because I feel like I have a lot of it right now.
Every time you hit a tens digit, that's a problem. So if you go from you hit 10,
case,
20, 30, that's
ding.
Uh-oh. That means you're going to get a malignancy, so you get to use your power. Although so did you if you've already dinged it, you kind of may want to roll that already because some of them actually help you. Like some of the malignancies are actually good for you.
I'm gonna see. All right, I'm gonna take. I have a round, so I'll look at that. Kynnoch is 11.
Okay, yeah. I think at that you will take one.
Yeah. Oh no, I'm talking about. I'm at 22 corruption.
Oh.
11 initiative.
Okay, gotcha. Let me write
and Jarnan got a 15 initiative.
Damn you! That's the one thing I miss about
only 10.
It's
going to
be the only 10 I roll all night.
What everyone else get?
I got an 11.
11.
Jesse got an 11.
Yeah, I got 14. Yep.
Okay, that's pretty good.
Let's see.
14 for Emmaus.
Mm-hmm.
Let me see what unnamed current demon of the warp gets.
So Kynnoch,
actually, you know what? I got a 17, not a 15. Sorry.
Oh. Okay, that's real.
Real good. I have +3 to initiative, not +1.
Is Kynnoch? Did he drop or is he just frozen?
He dropped to his knees.
Okay.
So frozen essentially for a turn.
Okay.
Oh, well, you guys can thank Tondi for that one. Of course, it fucks me over. He's going to be so happy if he listens to this still, that he's still fucking me over during my games with this rolling.
Decade later.
Okay, so it looks to be a relatively like a relatively horrific looking demon. Actually, I'm going to need some other stuff too. It's demonic. That's so fear 2 means you're going to take a fear check. I need a willpower test -10. So a 1 fear means you just take it straight. A 2 means you're going to take a -10.
Is this a demonic presence effect?
Yes, it is.
All right, I'm good.
Okay, then you're good. Not affected.
I am immune to those.
Oh, okay.
Would this go under jaded, or is this a terror of the warp?
It's a terror of the warp, unfortunately. Okay. That's why Jarnan is okay, and you definitely fail the shit out of that.
Yeah. Oh no, that 90 was for my malignancy test.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So this will be although I got what number are you? Oh yeah, 96 for my for the other one.
I got an 81. but here's the good thing. So I have iron discipline. So he just starts screaming.
What?
Like, no, fucking demon! So you guys can all re-roll.
Oh, sweet.
Really?
Yeah, iron discipline. So I get my
shitballs.
Willpower bonus. Number of people can re-roll fear or pinning tests.
Oh wow!
So,
but you still fail.
I got an 81. Yeah.
Okay.
So like I think my screaming like narratively like I start freaking out. So they're like, oh shit, and then
like harden up, boys.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, this was a straight roll, right? This wasn't any minuses on this one, right?
It's a -10 to your target.
Okay, I got 34 out of 33. You said re-roll it. Missed it by 1.
Oh.
Not 47 failed.
82.
Ooh, I don't... All right, so everyone in order. So Jarnan's totally cool. He doesn't give a fuck. Everyone's going to roll on the shock table that failed. So it's going to be it's going to be a D100 and add 10 to that number for every degree of failure. So I don't know what your all's willpower is, but every 10 above that willpower you failed by, let me know what your roll plus that is.
Is it with the minus or the
No. The minus is already out of it. After.
Yep. Kynnoch got a 55 plus 1 degree, so a 65.
65. Kynnoch, you are frozen by terror. Ooh. You may make no actions until you snap out of it. Ooh. After snapping out of it, the character will take a -10 for all tests for the rest of the encounter, and you gain 1d5 insanity.
Yay!
So yes, snapping out of it requires you every turn.
5 insanity.
Oh damn! You are required to make a willpower test every turn to see if you snap out of it.
At a -10.
Yeah, at a -10. Yeah. No, after snapping out of it.
After. Okay, yeah.
So you can make no actions until you snap out of it.
So I got an 82.
Plus, you got an 83 over. Is that an 82 with?
It was 4 degrees. I rolled a 42. And I failed by 4.
So 82. Panic grips the character. Oh no, this is the bad one. Well, not the worst, but this is a bad one. You must flee the source of your fear, if able, as fast as you can. If prevented from doing so, you can take half actions at -20. You gain 1d5 insanity points. Once away from danger, you must successfully snap out of it to regain control. So, you essentially are running the fuck out of that tunnel as fast as you can.
I wonder if it's worth it to fate point. Like I rolled, because higher
fate point after you've already done it.
Yeah,
you've already failed.
Yeah, all right,
you had to have fate pointed the 83 because other people already rolled stuff.
Yeah.
So you got to run the fuck out of there every turn until you are out of danger. So that's going to be pretty far from a demon. What's Emmaus's fear?
148.
140. Oh my god.
I rolled a 98.
His heart explode.
This one is really sad. Sad already. The character crumples to the ground for 1d5 plus 1 rounds, sobbing, babbling, and tearing at your own flesh, and may do nothing. Even after you return to your senses, you are a complete mess and take a -20 to everything on the roll, and you gain 1d5 plus 1 insanity.
Okay.
So it's a 1d5 plus 1 sobbing, babbling, and tearing your own flesh, and a 1d5 plus 1 insanity.
Okay. The rounds are, that would be 5 rounds.
Oh,
Jesus Christ, we're the worst.
This is going to be real bad for you guys.
And my insanity is 4 insanity.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's okay. That's at least something.
I think I'd rather take more hits on the insanity than the rounds, but what do you
Yeah, you would. Definitely.
Okay.
Jesus. You already made a malignancy test, right? For Kynnoch?
Yes, I did.
That was the 90, wasn't it?
Yep.
For every 10 corruption points, you have to test. Oh, you have to test willpower to see if the corruption is manifested as damage to your soul.
Yep, failed that.
Okay, modified by the number of CP you already have. Mm-hmm. So, if you fail, it's given in spirit form. You essentially roll. If you failed that willpower test, then it's a 1d100.
Yep.
And what was that?
I got a 96, so I got strange addiction. Not Jane's addiction. Strange.
Yep. So you now need to decide some bizarre substance that you now must have if you run into. I love that it's like the examples are eating rose petals, drinking blood, or the taste of a widow's tears.
Right.
And it acts like a minor compulsion. So you essentially, I believe, minor compulsion is you must make a willpower test not to do that thing.
Oh, okay.
So, like, if a widow is crying in front of you, you have to willpower test if you lick her tears. Or whatever you decide is your weird compulsion. So you have to want to consume something weird that people think's fucked up. Because it does say it has to be fucked up.
Right.
What? Emmaus is tearing at his skin. Could it be like Emmaus' blood? Like, it should be like in the scene, right? It shouldn't be like, oh, the sand from some fucking planet or something, you know?
Right.
Sure. I mean, sure. It could be. It could be charred bones. It could
Ooh,
be.
I like that one.
I guess it could
get
be
enough
like
of those with Jarnan around.
it wouldn't be Emmaus's skin. It would be like just torn flesh. I guess could be one. It could be blood because he'd be bleeding from that.
I kind of wanted to tie it into his obsession with the warp already.
Okay.
So maybe like he needs I don't know, maybe wants to collect pieces of warp creatures, like or something along those lines.
I think in this point it has to be eating it.
Eating?
So
all right, yeah, sure.
you could want to eat warp demons.
I need to
flesh.
I need to consume them, and I feel
Which
like
will okay, and I'm gonna add the additional weirdness of it will do a 1d5 corruption every time you do consume it.
This is so awesome.
But you have to roll willpower every time you kill something from the warp to not eat it.
Perfect.
Also,
Oops, go to
everyone
99
around you
again.
does not want you eating a warp demon. It's fucked up to do that.
Bad Kynnoch. It's a spray bottle.
Rolled another 100, guys. Sorry.
Yeah, that is gonna really fuck shit up because that's a really fucked up thing. But yeah, I'll totally give you that one. I'll let you have that for sure. Yeah. So you are now addicted to
Love.
consuming warp demon flesh.
I like it.
That's awesome. I love it.
I guess that's a talent.
It's is there not a malignancy on that?
Yeah.
There is a malignancy box, I think.
Oh yeah. I'm trying to figure out where to put it on my sheet.
Because on Dark Heresy, there's an actual malignancy literal box of where you write them.
There is not here.
Oh man, I wish you would have rolled blackouts. That would have been fun. Actually, my favorite is Bloodlust, where if something wounds you, you must pass a willpower test. Otherwise, you have to kill it, or else you cannot stop trying to kill it. I love that one. Yeah, there's some fun ones on the malignancy board. Okay, so let's go in order. You're at about, well, right now you're at 50 yards because no one other than Kynnoch moved, as far as I know. Or 50 meters, let's say meters, from the creature, from the demon. In order of initiative. Jarnan doesn't give a fuck that there's a demon there at all. And he's first.
He's going to be the only one fighting.
Yeah. So, question. Could I use a Medicaid check to try to snap Amos out of like tearing his flesh out?
So here's going to be the kicker. If you want to try that, you could. I will allow it, but it will only allow him to make the check. So if you succeed on the Medicaid check, it would allow him to make a snap out of it check. I'll let you do that if you succeed, but it won't automatically succeed.
All right, I am gonna do that then.
Okay.
So
I will let you use psychiatry to talk him down from
Do this then.
shredding himself.
They have to be able to hear me. So if they hear me screaming and yelling demon down the hallway, does he get to re-roll the test?
Wait, why would he re-roll it?
For the iron discipline, it says, iron sharpens iron. The explorer does not coddle his crew nor motivate them through kindness. His stalwart example and stern leadership extorts them with steel instead of spoils. If the character is visible to his followers, either in person or via Vox or Pickcaster, they may re-roll failed willpower tests made to resist fear and pinning. So they can hear him screaming.
He can hear you, and you're still screaming. So yes,
All right.
he would be able to re-roll it.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I'll allow it.
At least for the first turn, right? Like he may be
able to hear it even if you sprint away the next one, but yes, for now you definitely hear it.
all right, well, I got a 56 out of 40, so totally failed with the psychology aspect.
Okay. You're trying to talk him down from tearing his skin off and babbling incoherently, and it doesn't work.
Is that a full round or half round action?
That would be
pretty sure it's a full round.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it is, but I'm not positive what Medicaid is. I'd have to look.
It is the first time I've actually used it.
I would assume like he's got your full attention, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super exciting. Although it doesn't matter because John edits this. Whoops.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I like
to the flamer to his neck. Come on, snap out of it.
I was tempted.
Full action.
All right, that's what I figured.
Next would be Emmaus.
And I'm pounding my fist on the ground, tearing out skin and screaming. So.
Yep. You're babbling incoherently, freaking the fuck out.
Yeah.
The demon is then.
Did you roll twice, Emmaus? Because you're still gonna get a roll and a reroll.
No, he doesn't. He has a D. He has 4 rounds.
Right. He can't act. Yeah.
His isn't a recover. His is a.
I rolled 98 plus 50. So.
Yeah.
His is however many rounds
5.
just go. 5. Yeah, he has 5 rounds before he can try anything. But I think you automatically snap out, right? Did I see you? You don't have to snap out of it. You just snap out of it.
20. Yeah.
Okay,
got it.
Yep. The demon. Wow, maybe I should have had a easier demon. Nah, you guys have good stuff. It's fine. It's gonna move to the closest person to start, at least. That is going to be Kynnoch as he walked up to look at stuff. And it is going to attack him with just it does have claws.
I faint and fall to the ground.
Does not give a great example of what they look like, but I'm going to say, actually, no, let's say it looks like, I don't want to like tip hands, but it is able to change shape. So let's say it looks like a very tall, lanky human with bigger than normal eyes.
Slender Man.
Yeah, sort of. With like a small nose and a really wide grin, like a grin that's like too big for it's like a human to have. So it's like a demented, creepy looking, person horror. And it's just gonna swipe at you with claws. So that's gonna be weapon skill. Does it have any bonus? Sorry. Luckily, not it does not. So there we go.
So much editing.
Sorry. It misses. Whoops. Okay. It moves up and misses. It swipes, but it seems like it's trying to figure out what its body is doing as far as its shape. Then it would be Kynnoch, which takes a turn before you're able to snap out of it.
Yep. So now I was already kind of dropped to the ground from the chaos runes.
Mm-hmm.
Will that in my fear of this creature overlap, or will it now be 2 rounds that I am incapacitated?
That's what I was debating. Let's say they would overlap. I think they'd overlap.
Sounds good.
So next round, you can try to snap out of it. Then Venari.
I just run.
You run the fuck in the other direction.
At the end of that turn, do I make a roll? Or how does this...
Not until you are out of danger, and I would say you are not out of danger because it could still get to you at that point.
Okay.
You're going to have 2 turns of running unless it pursues you specifically.
Sure.
Next up, Jarnan again.
All right. Yeah, this is going to shit really quick. So there's still my crewmate tearing at his own flesh at the ground beneath me. So I am going to... so how far away was Kynnoch from us? So like how far away was the demon
let's say
from me?
10, yeah, 10 meters, let's say. Well, actually, no, it couldn't go that far. But you don't really want it not to. So let's say 15 meters.
15 meters?
Yeah.
Okay. I'm going to kind of look down, see that he's still kind of doing whatever, and I'm just going to whip out my flamer and shoot. So is Kynnoch in front of the demon on the ground, or are they like next to each other?
In front of.
Okay. This thing's like tall as fuck, right?
It is taller than a human. It's like 3
and Kynnoch's on his
It's like
knees.
9 feet tall. Sure.
Okay. And I figure in Kynnoch's down on the ground.
He's on his knees, so he's probably at 4 feet if you're on your knees.
So I am going to shoot over Kynnoch.
Oh, God.
And like spray the thing pretty much on like the top half of the body with fire.
Okay. I mean, I'm going to let you try this with the caveat of if you really miss it. If you get like a 90, if you fail it, it's definitely going to hit him also.
Well, here's the fun part about flamers.
Oh,
I don't even make a roll. You do.
All right. Okay. So it's an agility test, right?
Yep. And you take a -20 to it.
God damn. Okay. That's a pretty bad one. That gets rid of his dodge bonus. Is it a dodge test or an agility straight?
It's a straight agility test.
Okay. So. Oh, come on, thing. Do something. Oh, 30 under 38.
Oh,
damn it.
Oh,
it dodges.
God damn it. Okay. So
that was real close, though.
I don't know if you'll allow this or not, but once I kind of spray the flamer out, I want to the red hot end of the flamer and put it up against Emmaus's like upper arm to try to like snap him out of it through pain.
Technically, I'm gonna say no because it's a D5 plus 1, so he has to take it.
Okay.
If he well, I'll give him a you know what? Give me an attack roll with ballistic skill. No, weapon skill. If it succeeds, I'll let him make a willpower roll.
Fuck. Got a 90 out of 45.
Nope. You touch it to him, but he's scrambling around, so it only is just kind of like slightly hitting him. It doesn't actually burn him much. He doesn't.
Okay. All right. Yeah.
I'll give people chances for creative shit, but you got to actually roll it. So, that's going to be Emmaus screams and rips his own flesh. After you fired the flamer at it, doesn't love that by any means. So it's going to look at Jarnan and it's going to let's see what it's going to do. This will be fun for John to edit. Oh God. Let's see what happens. It's going to fire a bright beam of sun-hot energy at Jarnan. And that's going to be a willpower test.
All right. What?
Is there anything that's... Yeah, is there anything that is going to, like, give it negatives?
So I have
a hiker test.
All right, so I have +10 to resist psychic techniques.
Oh, okay. It is a psychic technique.
Cool. And that's pretty much it. So okay.
Okay.
Oh, not bad. 34 out of 60.
Wait. You don't roll that one though, right?
Oh,
he's rolling. He got a 36. Oh. He's got a 51 willpower, so that would have been a 41 with your -10. But it does hit.
Gotcha. Okay. Sorry, I thought you meant I had to roll the willpower check.
No. That's his willpower test.
Gotcha.
Oh, I'm sorry. This is going to be bad. 1d10. Okay, I might have to modify this a little.
Nah, go for it.
Kill him.
Again.
Okay, if you really want me to try it.
Do it.
It would be 22 fire damage.
Well, I guess you're dead.
So, nope. So you see this beam of red hot energy fly at Jarnan, and you just see this bright light shine over him, and the fire just kind of like parts to go around Jarnan, and when it goes away, he is just standing there, so completely untouched. So I can burn a fate point to resist a single demonic or psychic attack.
Oh my God. Wow. Wow. That's incredible.
and nobody even saw it.
Right? Everyone is just
Screaming. Yeah.
Everybody's fucking screaming or running. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh,
yeah.
that's beautiful.
That leaves me with 1 fate point.
Me too.
It does nothing to you. Wow, that's impressive. That's awesome.
Yeah, I can only do it once more, but whew.
So it doesn't. It does. That's burning a fate point. Isn't
using or
it
burning?
doesn't.
Burning is losing.
burning. Burning
It's
is
like
losing
when you
it.
die. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I mean, that's impressive. I love it. I love burning it to just like it was also pen 10, so it
I mean, yeah,
I
that
mean,
would have
it's-
killed 2
Yeah,
Kynochs.
no, like
I mean,
I
it's
was
an
gonna die.
insane. It's an insane power, right? Like it's like one of the highest level psychic powers. But
yeah, I have 11. I have 11. Freaking
Yeah, same.
like that just
apparently, I needed to dial this down a little bit on this guy, but that's okay.
you good. You good.
I mean,
Right.
luckily, Venari is already like halfway to the entrance,
Yeah.
so you can just pick up a new crew.
Kynnoch turns up though, and you actually get to roll a willpower. to see it.
All right,
Yeah.
let's do this. My willpower is really good, but I've been rolling really shitty.
Shake it off.
60 out of 65.
All right, you shake it off. So you are out of your. It swiped at you, and then it fucking somehow, by the power of the Emperor, missed Jarnan, and you are rallied. You are
All
like,
right.
I fucking got this thing. Maybe.
Yeah. So is this like D&D where the save happens at the end of the turn, or do I get to act now?
I don't.
I've never
remember,
rolled out of a fear test before.
I'm gonna actually say you do it before. I'm gonna say
All
you get
right.
to act.
All right. In that case,
Kane's guys. I forgot if Kane. How many guys you had with you?
3.
I will actually let. We'll catch him up. Let's go Kynnoch first.
Yep.
All right. So Kynnoch will whip off the hood and the whole and everything, and yell out to this beast that he was like, "I am Kynnoch of House Granicus, and you, Damon, do not exist on the materium." And I will let forth a scouring tide of warp energy as it jets forth from my fully opened third eye.
Sounds badass.
Yeah, it is Scourge of the Red Tide. So I need to make an opposed willpower test.
Okay.
And I got shitty 53.
Let's see.
Everyone
Okay,
cross everything
53
you
out
got.
of what? 53 out of
I
what?
got 53 out of 65.
Okay, he got an 87 over 51, so you definitely win it.
Boom. Okay. Key. It is anyone looking into my eye within 15 meters.
Well, technically,
So-
technically, it's still in front of you, and Jarnan was behind you, so no one could see your eye other than it.
That is true. So there we go. I did degree more. So opponent suffers 1d10 plus I got 1 degree of success, so it suffers 2d10 plus my willpower bonus.
Ooh.
So that is 8 and 10. So that is 18 plus 6, 24 energy damage. Armor, it's not reduced by armor, but the opponent may use his toughness bonus.
Well, the 10 would be Righteous Fury, wouldn't it?
Did you roll a 10?
I rolled a 10, yeah.
Yes. I believe
Yes?
that
Oh.
gives you Righteous Fury.
All right, sweet.
So you
So
were
that's
at
gonna get-
24.
24, just another 1. So 25.
Okay, 25, and it is reduced by toughness.
Yep, toughness, but not armor.
It you see like a distortion of reality as you open your third eye fully, and you see it just start to quiver, and like reality starts bending around it, and it screams in horrific pain. It still seems to be standing, but it is really not in good shape.
Yeah, the reason that I picked this, it was kind of to go with whatchamacallit, with Jarnan. Because it actually says flesh is seared to the bone and vital fluids boil away as the victim's soul is consumed. I like the flavor of that.
It's definitely well, you're gonna like the flavor once this thing dies, because you're gonna have to eat it. For sure, you're gonna love that flavor.
Yeah.
It is fucked up.
Nice.
By all accounts. Venari, I'm guessing you run. One more turn.
Yeah. Do I get my check at the end of this turn or no?
You get it at the beginning of the next.
Okay. Fair.
All right. And then I did forget that we had Kane's guys.
Yeah, 3 guys.
3 guys, and that's going to be with bolt guns. I'm going to roll them as a group, and it's going to be a plus 10 for each additional guy. So that's going to be...
Well, did they pass their fear checks?
Oh, that's right. Fear, that's just going to be a 40. 66. And it's going to be a plus 10 for each. So it'd be 40, 50, 60. Nope, they all failed.
Damn.
Fear, 1d, 100. Oh, they might be out of it for the entire time, because it's a 93 plus 10, which is 103. What is the 103? Super fun time looky uppy.
I mean, maybe that makes sense too, though, right? So we don't have NPCs that we have to...
I mean, normally it's fine. I'm just trying to like see what they would do. Their fear test is 103 is, god damn it, not mental disorders. Fainting dead away. They are unconscious for 1d5. They just literally get the vapors and pass out.
Oh my demon.
So they 1d5 rounds and they're out. So that is going to be 1d5. 5 rounds. So they're out.
Fuck.
They're fucking done.
They'll wake up when Emmaus does.
So Jarnan is up, though, as the creature is just sort of backpedaling a little bit from the warp energy that has just shaken it to its core.
All right, so Jarnan just had that red beam kind of like split around him, so he kind of like takes a step forward, like through the beam, and it is like and shoots off his own red beam at the demon with another flamer attack.
All right, and this is going to be
aim high again to not hit Kynnoch.
All right, so this is going to be an agility test with a minus 20, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I just assumed too that the demon is not afraid of my visage. That's
gonna be 58. Oh yeah, he failed that. Nice. Failed that straight out.
Ooh. All right. 13 energy damage, pen 2.
Okay, 13 pen 2. It's gonna be you blast out. It definitely scorches it some. It's injuring it more for sure. Let me double check.
And just a heads up, you're going to have to roll another agility check to see if you catch on fire.
That's right. Okay, let me roll that agility check. He's looking really bad, but not dead.
And that's also
And
a negative
he's
20.
on fire as fuck.
So he can't do anything next round except try to put himself out, and he takes an auto, 1d10 or something?
So he takes 1d10, which ignores armor. So he's going to take another 4 energy, completely ignoring armor, and he gets 1 level of fatigue.
All right.
And he must make a challenging, a +0 willpower test, or run around screaming for his entire turn.
All right, let's try that. Emmaus, count another round of screaming and clawing at your skin.
Like you do.
On fire test.
Warhammer.
Do you take damage regardless if you put yourself out or no?
You would take damage at the beginning of your turn,
Okay.
which you just took the 4 damage. So you wouldn't take any more this turn.
Okay. Willpower?
Yep.
No, I failed the fuck out of that. So on fire, screaming and running.
Yep.
As it is like, it can't get itself out.
It runs past Venari, who's running down the hall.
Yeah, and then you keep running. That's going to be Kynnoch, as the thing is just fucking panicking as it's on fire. It's definitely hurt. It's really hurting, but it's still up.
Yeah. So, and I will just yell, "Be gone, demon!" and continue to let loose the tide of warp energy with another scourge.
Oh Jesus!
So
you can do that again. Wow.
It's not until I go adept with it that I start gaining levels of fatigue.
Oh, interesting. Okay, that's ballsy.
Which I have to. It's at that point, it's like really insane damage.
It's really good that you guys have him, because this is baller ass damage for this thing.
I'm gonna fate point.
Okay.
So I have no more for the session. But that is holy shit. 17 out of 58.
Wow, that's going to be a lot of damage.
4 degrees of success. And can it get more than me?
What do you mean?
It's an opposed willpower?
It's 4 degrees. I guess it can. Let me double check.
Can
if it rolled really well?
Can it make the check since it's on fire and screaming on its turn?
It does, but it has a level of fatigue, so it gets a +10 or a -10, whatever way it is.
It's gonna fail. It's gonna fail the shit out of it, so it's fine. Yeah. Well, it failed. It failed by more than you. It succeeded by more than you would have.
5.
Oh my god.
6. 10. That's actually worse than my other one. 16 energy damage.
You roll any 10s?
No, I rolled 3 1s though.
Nice.
16, and that ignores armor.
Ignores armor, but he can use toughness.
Okay. As it is screaming and flailing from the fiery napalm that was spewed by Jarnan's flamethrower, it locks eyes with you and sees your third eye as more of the warp starts rippling out from your being. As it stares into you, you see it start rippling more, and then the creature sort of devolves into what looks to be a more sort of like a large sort of melting looking horrific creature, not human at all, before it burns, charring and falling to the ground, and it is dead.
Yeah. And Kynnoch will
I'm
collapse to the ground.
I'm walking up to it and blasting it again with the flamethrower just to be certain.
Double tap.
Double.
I like
Sure.
my demon. I like my demon black.
It was already on fire still because it didn't put itself out, so you put it even more on fire. Give me.
And
I
now
need
Kynnoch.
a Kynnoch willpower test.
Oh.
It's cooked meat at least.
Yeah.
95 out of 65.
You are 110% compelled to start. Just you have to gnaw on its arm, regardless of how awful it looks. It's a basically charred, burnt
How awful
mess
it looks to you. That's
yeah. To you, it looks like the most delicious barbecue you've ever seen. So you literally have to go. You start just tearing into it.
Yep.
At this point, I don't know what happened. What are you guys doing? I will say, since it's dead, Emmaus is back from Crazy Town. Venari is still two full sprints away, though, so he's 2 rounds away. And Jarnan is standing right there, having just flamed it, as you are now grabbing it and starting to sink your teeth into it.
Yep. I love that I now have a malignancy that gets me more malignancies. Like every time I do this, I get more corrupted, which just means I'm gonna get more fucked up.
That's true.
This is the.
Do I take any damage?
Greatest thing ever.
You don't actually.
Okay. I'm just going to be on my hands and knees, heavy breathing and looking around. And
You're going to take another 4, by the way, for eating this thing.
Nice.
As you're eating it, and you're thinking it tastes like it's like. Actually, you don't really like it. You just have to. You know, if you don't keep eating it, something's going to go wrong, even though it feels wrong to do it.
Jarnan, what are you doing as he like dives to the ground and like
at the moment nothing, because Jarnan is currently on his knees praying to the God Emperor for saving his life, like next to the demon. So he just hears kind of noises near him. He's like, fuck. I'm pretty sure when he opens his eyes, he's gonna be like, "What?
Oh, disgusting!
But what the fuck are you doing?"
Sorry. He's like licking his fingers. He's like, I don't know. And he'll stand up and like reach down and grab one last little bit, then wrap himself back up. He's like, apologies. This is where's the captain?
Is that something you do to all demons?
No, I do. No, it must have and he'll point out all the runes and everything. These are symbols of the chaos, and with my connection, there must have been some sort of compulsion of sorts that tainted me while I was, but no. Now that the demon is done, I believe that the connection will be over, and I will be all set. Thank you for your concern, though.
Okay. And Jarnan's just gonna kind of like keep an eye on him as he's walking away.
As Jarnan gives him the side eye, Venari comes running down the hallway, power sword held high, screaming, "Ah!"
Jarnan's gonna whip around. Jarnan's gonna whip around with his flamer up at the ready. Like, what the fuck is that? Oh. Welcome back.
Is it dead?
Dead, cooked, and eaten.
Kind of like cocks his head like a dog at you. He turns a power sword off, sheathes it. Eaten?
And Jarnan just looks over at Kynnoch.
Kynnoch probably now has picked up like another finger and is like,
he follows his gaze and he sees him like kind of like noodling on the finger. Takes like a couple of steps over to him, like smacks his hand. He's, what the fuck are you doing?
I'm sorry. It's just the essence of the chaoses. And can it? Emmaus will explain. Or Jarnan will explain, and he just walks off.
He looks back to Jarnan and like puts his hands up, like, what the fuck is that? What's happening?
Sir, I have no idea. He said something about the runes on the walls compelled him to eat the flesh of the demon. Now that it was dead, I'm just hoping this is a one-off, because if he continues to eat demon flesh, we may have a problem.
Yeah, I mean, that can't be good. I mean, I keep an eye on him, I guess.
Oh, I'll keep an eye on him. And a flamer on him if he starts to turn into one.
Yeah, that's a good plan. Hey, you're pretty good with that thing. And he like his boot, he toes the melted husk of the demon.
Yeah. Do you have a nice jaunt?
Yeah, it was it's fine. You guys handled it. I have complete faith in you guys.
As you guys are talking and settling, there is a reverberation in your heads as a figure appears in front of the glowing rocks. It looks to be a man. However, how they would have appeared there so suddenly makes very little sense. But as you look his direction, he says, "Well, it seems you've taken care of my minion. Perhaps you are worthy for the next step."
Is it Egon? Like a shimmering, like
no,
a
this is a person you've not seen.
Okay.
It looks very like a nondescript, like the most nondescript person you've ever seen. So not at all, like very indistinguishable from, like, almost you would not remember who it was if you passed them on the street.
Okay. Venari like instantly draws the power sword and drops into a crouch. And
oh, come now. There's no need for hostilities.
And who or what are you?
There's many names for me, but that's not important. I'm here simply to provide some guidance. I assure you there are more things for those that are worthy to be beholden. I would suggest you investigate. There's a world, a Gusia, in the Coronis Expanse. A dead world filled with mausoleums. But there is life there, and some more interesting endeavors for those willing. Perhaps you should have a look.
He kind of like eyeballs Jarnan and he says, we have no truck with chaos or demons.
Oh, come now. We're not all that bad. Besides, you're a trader, am I right? You're in it for the profit. There's more than enough profit to be had there. If you're interested, of course, if not, perhaps you're not who I thought you were. Anyway, I'll bid you farewell. Just remember, there's opportunity. Perhaps for those willing to take it. As he basically dissolves in flame and disappears.
Do we want to end on that?
Yes, let's do that.
Yeah, it's like 12:30 for you guys.
Yeah. I need to go to sleep at some point.
All right. Well,
Got some discussions to have.
yeah, Venari will file that in the way the back of his mind, but I think we probably have to somehow disrupt this whole scenario in this cave so that things cannot be resummoned or respawn. But yeah, I guess that's for later.
That was pretty good. I thought that thing was going to massacre all of you, but it turns out it didn't. That was great.
Energy damage for the win.
I mean, the fact you had to burn a fate point kind of sucks, but that's ballsy.
Right? That was fucking killer.
Dude,
Well, he would have died. He would have had to burn it anyway. Either way, he had to burn it.
Yeah. It's
Yep,
just that way you got
exactly.
to fighting and you did enough damage so that the next attack can fucking kill it. That was pretty That's baller. The God Emperor fucking provides.
Yep.
That was
Nice.
badass.
Oh man.
Cool.
I'm gonna give you guys shit. I don't know what the scale is on this one. I'm thinking in other terms.
5,000.
That was a pretty badass demon though. So let's say I don't know where you guys are, but let's do it's a pretty one. Let's do 500.
What?
Nice.
Yeah. I want you guys to get some baller shit. So let's say 500 XP on that one. No profit factor because you haven't really hit a profit factor doing anything yet. But
And
for
we
killing that demon, that's pretty good.
Yeah, we didn't get any XP last time, right? I don't have a note for anything. I mean, I don't know that we did anything other than like get in
We
trouble.
might have forgotten, but to give it to you. But sure, I think 500 is pretty good.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
500 is a nice chunk. I mean, even if you want to say it was 250 and 250 or
Well, otherwise I would do 600 if you want to. Since I didn't give you last time, we'll do 6.
Sure.
Let's do 6. Well, I want you guys to be able to fight badass shit. So that one could have tanked you pretty easily with a couple
Oh,
attacks.
hell yeah.
So
If Jarnan
help.
had actually dropped on his attack instead of being able to
yeah, I think he would
avert
have
it and then set it on fire and make it run around, we would have been fucking dead.
Yeah, another attack would have been harsh because I was going to do another psychic attack, which would have been tough. And that was, I gave that psychic attack, granted, was one of the worst, but still, that one was, I would have not hit you with another molten beam. That was, at least I didn't use Inferno, but molten beam was 1d10 plus 3 times power rating, and its power rating was 5. So it was a 1d10 plus 15 plus its something else. So it was plus its psychic rating. So it was like 1d10 plus 20. So it was like crazy to start. And pen 10, so it was absurd. And I didn't realize that and when I first cocked that power off. So but I thought, well, let's let it ride. But you guys made
Yeah,
it.
when you were, I might have to scale that down. I was like, I have an ability that I'm just gonna dodge that entire attack. So
I mean, I like it. I thought it was great. That was like super action packed, man. I was like so worried, and then you're like, oh wait, nope, that beam splits in a fucking blinding light of holiness, and I was like, this is amazing. This is the greatest fucking power.
He plants his book on a stick right in the ground.
Right.
Yeah. You'd like totally none shall past him. I love it.
yeah,
I fucking love it.
I did it better. I didn't get knocked down like that.
Yeah,
freaking
you
scammer
didn't
in the book.
fucking fall however many levels of earth or whatever.
To be
That was
fair,
pretty-
he survived the fall. That's pretty badass.
That's true. And he did fight a Balrog on the way down,
He did.
at least in the movie. I don't know if it happened in the book.
It happens in the book too.
Yeah.
I wish I would fall off of a cliff into the center of the earth and fight a demon in the middle of it and win
Yeah.
and live. But then I die in the snow. That's weird. Make a fire, dude.
Yeah.
He is a
Wow, we only
wizard
need
after all.
400 more XP.
Really? I'm behind then.
Yeah, to go up to
I'm at
rank
9350.
Oh, you're not even ranked 3 yet. Damn.
9600.
What are you at?
Nah, that puts us 9600.
Really? I must have missed
Yeah.
something then.
I don't think you missed a game, right? I don't think so.
No, I didn't. I just must have. Sometimes I don't mark down my XP.
Yeah, because you guys really need to be rank 3 so that you can get even more badass.
And that actually does line up with what I have on my I don't track XP online in my doc, but I track all the abilities I've taken, and so that number actually lines up with the abilities so far. So that works.
Getting close then. Pretty soon you're going to be even more badass, guys. Another rank.
Sweet.
All right. I'm going to go to sleep.
All right,
And
well,
get yelled at for keeping my wife up since I'm still in the room beside us and I haven't put up my sound panels.
all right. Well, thank you for running. Thank you guys for showing up for a long game to play.
Thank you.
Yeah.
was.
Thanks for having us.
It was good to get back to this one. I didn't realize it had been
Oh,
almost
yeah.
3 months already. I was like, shit.
The beginning of the summer, yeah.
Yeah, it was June was the last time we played.
Jesus.
Yep. But cool.
We won't wait so long next time.
Yeah, hopefully not. I will just say real quick, reviews on iTunes and wherever you download at, that's fantastic. That helps out a ton. We've got coffee for sale, tinyurl.com/legendary brew, or click the link in the show notes. That's always there. That's it. Thanks for checking it out. We'll catch you next time.
Peace.